My name is Brandice Taylor, and I was raped. I was attending Florida A&M University in the fall of 2000, and I met this guy named Russell at a club. I gave him my phone number, and he ended up coming back to my place the same night, and I slept with him. He seemed pretty cool. He hung out with us, me and my roommates, several times following that. We would have Sunday dinners, and he would always come over. So it wasn't a shock to me on this particular evening. It was actually the same night of the Greek basketball game when he knocked on my door. He insisted on giving me a ride up to campus because I actually had a date later that night. And he just wouldn't take no for an answer. I kept telling him no. It was really odd to me since it had been like 4 months and we had no kind of intimate interactions, why he was being so insistent. And the next thing I knew, he was having his way, I guess is the best way to put it. I was crying, that didn't stop him. I'd say, I don't know how many months later, it was the end of the semester, and the guy I was seeing at the time, John, forced me to call Russell and confront him about what he had done. And when I called Russell, he told me that he did not rape me, that he has a sister and a mother, so he would never rape anybody. And the part that always got me about that conversation is that he said he knew I felt uncomfortable, but that he would never rape anybody. And I'm like, well, how uncomfortable does somebody have to be in order for you to stop? So once I confronted Russell about this, he took it to the most extreme levels ever. He called the sheriff's department of Leon County and made a report that someone was accusing him of rape. He then called the housing department. So I was called into the housing office of Florida Agricultural Mechanical University. Mr. Moore was still in charge at that time. And not only did I have to confront Russell with these accusations in front of the director of housing, but they told me because I had previously admitted letting Russell in my room, that they were going to give me a $500 fine. Totally ignoring the fact that I just told them that this young man violated me and my rights and my body, and that meant nothing to them. I tried for the rest of the time that I was at FAMU to start a support group for women who were in abusive relationships or who were sexually assaulted or raped. And it just got pacified, and they kept pushing everything I had to say under the rug.
My name is Christina, and I'm 33 years old, and I was raped when I was 19 in college by a friend of a friend who locked me in a bathroom and forced himself on me, beat the crap out of me, pretty much. Bruises across my back, bruised up my face, bruised my chest. It was very brutal. It was Framingham State College in Framingham, Massachusetts. After it happened, the next semester I moved to Boston because I had to get away. What helped me was my friends. I found out who my real friends were. some of my friends blamed me, and then I figured out they weren't my friends because I was locked in the bathroom. I had nowhere to go. But my friends who were there for me were amazing, and if it weren't for them, I would have felt completely useless and like I was a loser, and why did this happen to me? It actually made me a stronger person in the end, and I know that there are some women, when they're raped, they don't have sex for a long time. I was the opposite. I started sleeping with whoever I could, because if I was going to be used, I was going to use men the same way I was used. And it made it very difficult for me to have a real relationship for a very long time. Actually, until I met my husband in 2006. I never reported the rape for a couple of reasons. One being, I was the firstborn child of an Italian-American immigrant, Italian immigrants. So I had no help on that front because you don't express anything outside the family, ever. And you bury everything that happens to you. But what I would tell anybody who has been in my situation, who has been raped, who has been forced to do anything that they do not want to do, is you need to tell somebody that you trust, and you need to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, it eats at you and eats at you and eats at you until you feel like you're nothing and that you're not good for anybody.
Rape is not a bad word.
Stand up, speak out.
Rape is not a bad word.
Stand up, speak out.
Rape is not a bad word.
Rape is not a bad word. Tell somebody.